Yeah, let's hear from Chris Stuckmann about the writer's strike. Go ahead and like the video because he's giving me the information.
What's going on, guys? So it's been a while since
love
I've done a
Chris.
discussion video. The WGA and SAG are all striking right now. The DGA, the directors, they were able to work out a deal, but writers and actors are striking. Fran Drescher of the Nanny fame is president of SAG, and she made an impassioned speech about the difficulties of even trying to negotiate with Hollywood. This is historic for many reasons, and I'm making a video about it because I've seen a lot of misconceptions floating around the internet, surprise, surprise, and I figured a guy wearing a Pikachu shirt should set things straight. The writers have been striking now for over 70 days. And just to be clear, I am not yet a member of the WGA, but when my film Shelby Oaks comes out, I will finally be eligible. And so I will likely become a member at that time. So I don't have any, reason necessarily to make this video other than to sort of talk about a few things, especially with
Chris.
SAG right now, that I've been thinking about that I think people should understand.
I don't know if he's going to go into them, but a lot of the policies that they're trying to push are like extremely fucked for the actors and the writers, where they almost make no money at all.
Because when the writers began to strike, I saw a lot of concerning comments spread around the internet, namely, movies suck now, so why should writers be paid? They should learn to write better, all that kind of bullshit.
They're already not getting paid. That's why the
truth of the matter is movies don't suck right now at all. I mean, didn't everyone pretty much like Top Gun Maverick or Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1? Or John Wick Chapter 4, these are all WGA written productions.
Yep.
Just because aspects of some movies aren't great does not mean that people who work shouldn't be paid. I mean, come on, man. When people think of these guilds, whether it's the DGA, the WGA, SAG, they tend to think of like the most famous people in them. When they think of actors, they think of Brad Pitt or Keanu Reeves, George Clooney, Tom Cruise, Denzel Washington. They think of these mega rich, incredibly successful celebrities. But those are not the only people that are part of SAG. There are people right here in Ohio who are members of SAG, who do work like bartender roles, or a customer at a restaurant, or someone walking around in the background. Not everyone is SAG. Some people are non-union or SAG eligible, but there are plenty of actors who are part of that union, and they do not have a livable wage. I mean, not even close. And when it comes to the WGA, writers are historically undervalued. I mean, I can tell you that from personal experience. I've had really a hard time getting my first film off the ground. Before Shelby Oaks, there were many other almosts that happened that I've never talked about. I have done countless rewrites on films that came really close to happening, unpaid. Every single time. I've worked for months and months and months on scripts with producers who are millionaires.
Which shout out Chris, if you're tuning in and this is interesting you, go check him out. He does a lot of good reviews, talks about movies, makes movies, or making a movie now. So good for him.
One of my films made. Never saw a cent and was treated like trash the whole time. None of my work was respected, and I was constantly asked to do the most insane, stupefying rewrites that would blow your mind. This is totally normal for writers. They go through this shit all the time. They sit there trying to figure out how to get a film made because they love this craft and they love movies so much, and they constantly have to deal with people who are far richer and far more powerful than they are,
telling them what to do
make that happen. And so they're in a constant state of placating someone who is considered better than them and who knows it and who will use that mentality that they are powerful and better than them to control a writer and make them feel like trash. And it happens all the time. And the WGA is 100% striking for a good reason. But I think the biggest thing and the number one reason I wanted to make this video that is extremely alarming about what Hollywood was proposing to SAG and what SAG said no fucking way.
Yeah, listen to this. If this is what I think it is,
of owning a background actor's likeness digitally. So in a movie, if you have a crowd scene or you need a bunch of people to fill out a room, that's background actors. In the past, they were normally referred to as extras, which is a somewhat demeaning title, and so background actor sounds a little better. These people make your shot look good. They fill it out. They make it seem like you're in a real space, especially in big movies where you're at stores or events or a concert or something along those lines.
True.
Background actors are absolutely necessary. In some cases, it's CGI, like if it's a battlefield in Troy or the Lord of the Rings or something, but that's understandable. But according to SAG, what studios were saying was that they would like to hire a background actor for one day, meaning a day rate, whatever it might be, probably somewhere around $200 to $300, scan their likeness, and then excuse them from work and not need them ever again. But then, and this is the scary part, they would own that actor's likeness forever. And they could just keep using
That's fucked up.
that digital likeness of somebody.
That is so bizarre. Imagine you're trying to get into the industry and you go, sorry Chris, I'll give you a better face. You imagine going into the industry and you're trying to do something small and you're a background actor, you're like going in for something that, you know, like a role that could help you get your foot in the door, and they go, hey, let's actually just scan you. We don't need you on set at all, and you won't even have to act. We're just gonna generate you, and that'll be good enough for us. And oh, by the way, yeah, we own the scan of your fucking penis now. We own your face and your penis, and if we need you naked in the background of a shot, you got it. We own your likeness. We can do it
whenever they want.
Like, that's scary.
Not that I need an analogy for how crazy that is, but I'm going to do one anyway. I wrote about this on my Instagram already, so if you follow me there, you would have seen this. Matt Damon and Ben Affleck got their start doing background work as actors. They're in the movie Field of Dreams somewhere in the Fenway Park scene. They've talked about this a lot in interviews, how much fun they've had and how impactful that was for them. And that experience continued to lead to other background work, and eventually School Ties came around, and Saving Private Ryan and Bourne Identity, and Ben Affleck's Oscar-winning career as a director, and all of that great stuff. But let's just for a second imagine that this modern-day technology that studios are trying to push on people existed back in 1989. And Matt Damon and Ben Affleck did one day for the Fenway Park scene and then had their likenesses scanned, and they signed that away forever. And then they don't come back for a second day. Kevin Costner and James Earl Jones just hang out on set with a few background actors who are actually there, knowing that the rest of it is just going to be filled out with these new scans that they've just acquired. And Universal, who made Field of Dreams, would now own Matt Damon and Ben Affleck's likeness forever in perpetuity. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, wow, they could really take advantage of that. Except that's actually not what I'm saying. Because I don't think Matt Damon and Ben Affleck would have actually gotten famous had this technology existed. Because they would have owned their likeness.
Yeah,
which means that if Matt Damon and Ben Affleck wanted to continue to do background work after Field of Dreams, Universal would have been like, no, we already scanned you. We don't need you for any more work. Oh, okay, well, there's some background work here for this production. That's Warner Brothers. Let me go over there and do some background work for this Warner Brothers movie. Oh, no, sorry. Universal actually owns your likeness. We can't work with you because your likeness has been signed away to Universal.
How shitty would that be,
so,
man?
like, what do I do? Did I just, like, do a day on Field of Dreams and I'm never going to work again? There are so many loopholes to what I just said that you could fill it with so much shit. It's insane how terrifying that notion is. And that would probably lead to Damon and Affleck never having made Good Will Hunting, Robin Williams never getting a Best Supporting Actor win, no Bourne Identity, nothing that Affleck ever did in the future, none of that would probably have happened because their careers would have ended right then because they signed their likeness away in a second to some studio that doesn't give a shit about them. I can't believe that an actor would be degraded to that level. These are people who make movies happen.
Because they like their movies.
Writers
and they like working together.
Are just as important. In
they
fact,
like making
more important.
Movies.
Without a writer, you don't have a movie. Writers, directors, actors, and especially crew are the people who get these movies made. All of these mega rich people who are sort of just profiting from the fact that other people are working very hard for them are terrified of losing like 2% of their money. And it's just absolutely, it's hilarious, to be completely honest. One day, a very good comedy released by a very brave studio will be made about these past few months. I think it's really easy to look at these strikes from a surface level and just think, well, SAG is just mega famous people, right? Like Angelina Jolie or whatever. And no, it's not. It's everyday working people who love their art and love their craft who just can't get ahead in this industry. And it's the same with writers. I mean, not every writer is Aaron Sorkin. There's tons of people who are just struggling.
It's hard to make your way
get
through
anything made, and who can
especially an
barely
industry
afford to
that
make
eats
a
you.
living in Los Angeles or New York. This is why the cast of Oppenheimer left the premiere in solidarity with SAG, because all of them were starting actors once too. They all know what it feels like to be a struggling actor. Not a single one of them was just birthed into being famous and incredibly talented. And so this is what we're dealing with. And I really would love if more people understood that. I mean, you have to understand that former strikes are why writers have health care, are why certain things that we look at as normal now, it's because somebody back in the day didn't get paid for a long fucking time on a strike. And
Yeah.
that's exactly what this strike is going to do for writers and actors. At some point in the future, 30 years from now, there's going to be a very normal thing that everyone has because of these strikes. It might not seem that way now. It might seem like it's taking a while now, but in the future, the people who are reaping the benefits of this strike are going to be very happy that this strike.
Yeah, and I think we're moving into a time of where once this stuff is over and once we get through all of this, then there will be a lot more freedom to actors and background actors, or, you know, people who are just trying to actually work in that industry, because they don't want to have their likeness sold and then never work again. They want to be a part of it until they can either star in their own project, be content being a background actor, or direct something, produce something, etc. You got to put your foot in the door some way. And if you're taking away that opportunity from like every set that somebody could be going to, making connections, you're taking the door away from the front of your business. You're basically saying, the employees come in the back, but there's no front door. You could just look through the glass. You can look through the glass and maybe get something online if we have a store. You know what I mean? That's like...
strike is happening. Those are my thoughts on all this craziness. Nobody on either side wants a strike to happen, I don't think, but what has to happen has to happen. Writers and actors need to be compensated fairly, but even beyond that, they have to be respected.
Yeah.
All the new tools that AI has created can in some ways be extremely useful, but just like anything that we ever...
Can I take a second to look at this guy's face? He's smug, dude. Oh my god, look at him. Dead serious right there.
Extremely useful, but just like anything that we ever create, we always abuse it somehow, and that's the really scary part. So we have to be very careful, and lines
Medicinal marijuana. He's talking about
have to be drawn. So, you know, that's all I got to say about this shit. Guys, thank you so much as always for watching. Look forward to more videos.
Dude, awesome. Thanks, Chris Stuckmann, for keeping us updated on this. And that is kind of nuts. Let's read some comments. I worked for a construction union for 25 years and fully support the actors and writers strike. I pray for a quick and fair agreement for these talented, hardworking people. I have a family friend who is an actor. She makes a living, but mostly as a minor character or a background actor. She works job to job and tutors in acting on the side to pay bills. This is what a normal actor looks like. They live an unstable life going from job to job. SAG makes sure they have health care and a pension and get paid well. I encourage people to go on YouTube and watch the whole SAG press conference because one Fran gives a great speech, and when they answer press questions, it sheds a lot of light on why this strike is mostly definitely needed, because as Fran said, the studios want the same deal when with AI and streaming, the industry has changed. Okay. The fact that studios are willing to shut down an entire industry is terrifying, as it shows how excited they are to replace actors and writers with AI. They wouldn't be this aggressive unless they already had serious plans in the works. They definitely see major cost savings. That is true. Imagine how cheap it would be to like just buy somebody's likeness one time and then use that over and over and over. It's like getting saying somebody's like a Fortnite skin. Like, I'm 2,500 V-Bucks, but I got a weekly fee, and I need health care. So, I mean, the whole situation is just really ridiculous. Let's look at the strike, see if there's any news on it. News? Actors join writers on picket lines. some truly independent producers to film during the strike if they sign interim agreements? Dune skipping Comic-Con, several panels back out. With double strike, Comic-Con goes back to basics. And the Oppenheimer cast leave. Fran Drescher slams Bob Iger's repugnant and tone-deaf strike comments. If I were Disney, I would lock him behind doors. Bob is stupid. Do you want to see what he said? It's Bob Iger, strike. What'd he say?
I heard disruptive. I heard
Get me out of here. Let's see, quote. What does he comment? Is this what he says? Let's see. Yeah, he said something. It's not realistic. If I can find it in here. It's very disturbing to me, Iger said. We talked about disruptive forces on this business and all the challenges we're facing and recovery from COVID, which is ongoing. It's not completely back. This is the worst time in the world to add to that disruption. The dude makes billions. He makes billions, and he's the head of Disney. And he's saying, it's disturbing to me the little guys want better treatment during all of this hardship, and you want to ask for help? This is the worst time in the world to add to that disruption. Like it's a problem for him? Are you kidding me? Nevertheless, Iger persisted. I understand any labor organization's desire to work on behalf of its members to get the most compensation and to be compensated fairly based on the value that they deliver, Iger told CNBC. We managed in industry to negotiate a very good deal with the Directors Guild that reflects the value that the directors contribute to this great business. We wanted to do the same thing with these writers, and we'd like to do the same thing with the actors. There's a level of expectation that they have that is just not realistic, and they're adding to a set of the challenges that this business is already facing that is, quite frankly, very disruptive. He doubled down. What a dick. Okay, so basically, to sum this up for you, for anybody who's not in on this, writers are underpaid. They don't get good benefits. Actors are underpaid. They don't get good benefits. Background actors are underpaid. They don't get good benefits. Disney, look at this. How much is Bob Iger worth? $350 million. Now we go, how much is Disney worth? $161.9 billion. How much is an average background worker or background actor paid? Is between $120 for a 10 to 12 hour day. You're paid $10 an hour for one day. And he's saying it's disruptive to him and to the industry that these people are wanting better treatment. I'd like to disrupt his butthole or something. And I don't know, man. I don't know. This is so, like, it's so weird that he would complicate it even further by saying it's disruptive. And, like, right here where this is the worst time in the world to add to that disruption. What is he doing at Disney headquarters? It's very disturbing to me, Iger said. We've talked about disruptive forces on the business and all the challenges we're facing, and the recovery from COVID, which is ongoing. It's not completely back. This is the worst time in the world to add to that disruption. Like, is he a supervillain? He's sitting there, he makes more than what a background actor makes. He makes more than what an average CEO makes. He makes more than, I bet, most of the people that you would just find walking on the street. And he's saying it's a problem for him. in the industry. It's a problem that the money has to go to other places like health benefits, writing benefits for the writers to not be contracted and switched like every episode to finish and actually be there on their piece and produce it. There's so many issues with this that are just like ridiculous.